Welcome everyone to the Dr. Abs Healthcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brian Abasolo, aka Dr. Abs, and on today's show, we're talking about a very fascinating subject. We're going to be talking about the role of human growth hormones in longevity, the sullied public image of HGH treatments, and the radical evolution of the first non-synthetic treatment that counts doctors as some of its biggest champions. And with us today, we are joined by Dustin Baker, who is the president of BioProtein Technology and the creator of BioPro Plus. Now, with years of experience working intimately with some of the world's most elite professional athletes, trusted physicians, and even international private security and military personnel, Dustin's passion remains the same: to help individuals maximize their physiological and cognitive potential safely. Since his 20s, Dustin has been instrumental in the product design and brand development for natural products in the professional athletic, fitness, and medical supply categories. I'm really excited to talk to Dustin and about this fascinating subject. So let's bring on Dustin Baker. Welcome to the show, Dustin. How you doing today?
Great, buddy. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Good. So for those of you that don't know, Dustin is the president of BioProtein Technology and creator of BioPro Plus, the first 100% non-synthetic alternative to prescription human growth hormone treatment. Dustin, I'm fascinated by the subject. I'm all about, longevity and anti-aging. So I'm interested to know what's out there that's not synthetic. And it seems that you created the first protocol of treatment that's non-synthetic. That's amazing. Tell us a little bit about your story, how you got into this.
I get asked that question every single time. It's like, how did you get into this or whatever? It's like, where do you begin? Because I could take you all the way back to my childhood and that kind of stuff, or I could go right into the business of it. And then I try and find this like happy medium to not bore anybody.
The Cliff Notes version. The Cliff Notes version, as I like to say.
30 minutes of me talk about myself. Yeah. So I grew up in a super unhealthy household, straight up and down. I grew up in a low income, super unhealthy household. It wasn't my parents' fault. They're not bad people. But my dad was a pack a day smoker. My mom didn't know anything about nutrition. No, the family, still really doesn't. So I was an overweight kid. I played sports like every other kid, and baseball and hockey and soccer. I was never really that good. I was a fat kid, straight up and down. And why I even include that into where I am today is because I think that had a huge impact into my adult life. Unhealthy habits as children lead to unhealthy habits as adults. And, in my 20s, I was, a drinker, a smoker, an eater and anything. And even though I may not have been the fat kid anymore, those unhealthy habits were, there's no other better way to, yeah, dude. And that was kind of your personality, right? Those are a lot of human beings, especially in this country and in Western cultures. That's the personality of who we are today. We eat, we drink, we smoke, we vape. If you can literally do one body weight pull up in 10 push-ups, you are in the top 5% of physical fitness in the United States. And that's insanity, right?
Yeah.
But it's very normal. So that's why I tell that portion of the story, because it led me in my 20s prior to my real career of a super unhealthy human being. One day in my 20s, I had a friend straight up go, dude, you got to cut this shit out. You got to stop this. Like, why don't you come to the gym with me? And lo and behold, little did I know that one day of going to the gym would change my life forever.
Nice.
And that catapulted me and kind of started this snowball effect of learning everything I can about the human body, nutrition, physical fitness, etc. That snowballed into changing the entire direction of my life and path, which wasn't much at that time, into the human performance space. I took any job I could. I did anything I could to learn about human performance and mentor under individuals. I slept in basements with spiders. I took out garbage. I cleaned toilets, which one thing leads to another. And at this point, our company, and we've been invited to the NFL Combine and work with agents from all over the country to government agencies and special forces. I literally can't even talk about the programs. And what got me there was I in my fitness endeavors and learning in that space, there was this really small company in Florida, these two brothers. One was a biochem guy. One was like a crazy, marketer type dude. And they worked together, and they were in search of finding the best way to do what I'm sure we'll talk about for this whole show of how to do what we do now, the best way to figure that out. And they travel the country to learn how to do these things. And I got a hold of these formulas when I was like, I was in the process of working with like CrossFit athletes and Olympic lifters and performance athletes and stuff. And so at each one of my business ventures, we were threading these formulas into the process, whether it was, early days of like CrossFit and power lifters, to then we got into NFL combine prep, NCAA, like college prep, even high school kids, et cetera. And even into the private space is what I would call it, into physical brick and mortar gym spaces. And these formulas were always threaded and embedded with any of these protocols we would always work through. And they just worked across all different types of ages and demographics. Clearly they work better with some than with others, but they repeatedly showed results. So
these are all non-synthetic, correct?
Correct. 100%.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. Because to be very honest and transparent with you, when you're working with NFL athletes, CFL athletes, NCAA kids, you can't, your rules and regulations are very stringent. You can't pop any drug tests. There's game checks in the 7 figures that are on the line for some of these guys. And
correct.
I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I was putting somebody at risk.
Yeah.
Plus, how angry would you be if, you got suspended for 3 games for a popping a drug test that could, cost you millions of dollars. So anyway.
Yeah, like you hear it all the time. Like, it's like, oh, I didn't know what was in the bottle. Or it's like, I mean, half of these guys.
I didn't know or whatever. And those aren't always to kind of, I understand we're taking a sidestep here, but they're not always lying. That's part of the industry. Is some things come from overseas. They come from different countries. And the rules, regulations, quality controls are very much so not what they are in the United States.
Yeah.
And you can get into trouble. And that's how people have gotten in trouble. And now it's a common scapegoat, but it does exist. So anyway, we find these formulas, et cetera, et cetera. I had a business mentor at the time. I was exiting one venture and starting another. And he was just like, man, why don't we just do this, which is get a hold of these formulas, do what we need to do, and bring them to the rest of the world. Like actually get them in the hands of people that need them, not just in these little kind of echo chamber pockets. And that's exactly what we've done over the last several years. Now we're found on every continent other than Antarctica. And it's always cool seeing a new country come through the portal of who's ordering what and where it's coming from. It's been a really wild ride.
Nice, man. Nice. Incredible story. So I guess for the audience, obviously we're talking about growth hormone, human growth hormone. So obviously you've created something that's non-synthetic. I want to break down the difference between the two, right? Like, what are human growth hormones for the audience out there, and how do they occur naturally in the body? And I guess what's the difference between, the stuff that these guys that we're talking about would get in trouble for versus what you're providing the community?
Sure. So human growth hormone is your master hormone. It's not sex dominant. It's in men and women. And it is responsible for a lot of functions like metabolism, for sexual function, for wound healing, skin healing. It even can be responsible for oxygen potency within the blood, red blood cells, to hair and skin health, etc. It's naturally present in every single human being. You basically peak throughout puberty and in your early, late teens, early 20s. And as soon as you finish puberty, it starts to decrease every single day or every single year after you finish that peak, after you finish puberty. So that's why a lot of companies or a lot of products like we produce are recommended for individuals over the age of 30, because a lot of people don't realize that in some cases, your human growth hormone can actually decrease to 50% of what it once was by the age of 35.
Crazy.
So that's why a lot of people, they're like, hey, and I'm sure they come to you, and this is no uncommon story. Hey man, I don't feel like I used to as much. I just wake up one day, I got weird aches and pains. I don't really feel like I used to. I don't have the energy. My libido is down. All super signs that, you're hitting that lower end of that growth hormone. The hormonal decline is now very noticeable. And that always typically occurs right around 38 to 44 is always that sweet spot of when people kind of wake up and they just look in the mirror and they're like, man, I am just not who I used to be.
I'm in that range, man. I'm in that range.
You and me both, man. You and me both.
Yeah. You look good, man. How old are you?
I'm 37.
37, man.
Yeah,
Skin looks good. I mean, everything's looking good. Obviously, your products are working.
I've been, a lot of people don't know this, but I was a user and a normal guy buying the products since 2014. And it
2014.
was through just, yeah, so a long time. So it was something I was truly passionate about just as a consumer before
So,
we ever acquired the company.
so tell me about that because I mean, obviously, you mentioned your story. You started working out like when you were like 20.
I was like 24, 25,
24.
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got in the gym for the first time. I mean, obviously
Yep.
there's the supplement industry is absolutely huge. Like
Sure.
when did you, I mean, you mentioned 2014 was the first time. Like, is that the first time you kind of delved out of the like, what's in normal GNC or vitamin shop, like and go with, maybe
Yeah.
something that was like
100%.
hormone related?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I didn't even know stuff like this existed. I've never been a big proponent of synthetic drugs, just as my worldview.
Yeah.
I never want to be on something that regulation. I know the medical space too well. Like that's literally my career now. I travel around and I talk to doctors and educate them on our specialty.
Yeah.
In no way, shape, or form am I a physician or a doctor. I am a specialist in what we do. So I go around and I educate on what we do specifically. But that being said, the reason why I said that is I understand regulations and I understand how fast different things can change depending upon the country and even state to state. So each state has different regulations that they
Yeah.
impose at different times, and it can happen really fast. Like for instance, we're talking about growth hormone in California. Like boom, flip a switch, you can't get it anymore for specific things, or it's $10,000 a month, like crazy
Wow.
stuff. Where here in Florida, very different. I mean, they're polar opposites in so many ways. The reason why I said that is because, like I was saying, my worldview is I never want to take something that could negatively affect me or suppress my own natural ability to do something and then have a regulation flip and I can no longer get a hold of it anymore. Right.
Gotcha.
So look at they're doing it
Yeah.
right now with Adderall. You have all these people taking Adderall, and now in certain parts of the country,
Shortage.
now there's a massive Adderall shortage. And you have a drug that is highly addictive. Now it has its medical application like anything else, but like any other synthetic drug, there are negative consequences for taking it. And you have a massive nationwide shortage. You have a bunch of people that are potentially go through some sort of withdrawal or sickness,
Yeah.
whether it be really bad or whether it be I just having trouble sleeping at night. It's still something. So I've never wanted to do something like that. I've never wanted to be physically dependent on a medical application. So that's kind of why it sounded like something that I would be interested in.
Gotcha.
So that's why I kind of jumped on it, dove in with head first,
Absolutely.
hands out,
Absolutely.
whatever the euphemism is.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of I mean, you obviously mentioned that you talked to other providers and kind of like educated them on what you do. I mean, did you get a lot of pushback like early on? Like, I got the real stuff here. Like, I don't want to bother with that
We still
natural
do.
stuff. Or, gotcha.
We still do. And that's totally fine. I totally understand that. We understand that as a company. We don't make synthetic drugs. If your patients want synthetic drugs and applications, then just go that route. That's
Not for
totally
you.
fine.
Yeah.
I got nothing. Yeah, it's just not for everybody.
So, Dustin, I mean, obviously you're bringing, this non-synthetic product onto the market. Did you get any pushback from providers out there that actually prescribe, synthetic hormone?
Yes, and still do pretty much almost every day.
Wow. How does that I mean, have, like a bunch of doors closed? Like how does that work? I mean, as far as you
No,
get
honestly,
with these providers and
I
like
mean,
trying to get them to use your product.
well, no, not entirely. I think everything has a time and a place, and where some doors have closed previously, we don't ever give up on those efforts because where we were 3 years ago or 4 years ago is light speed different, or completely different than the landscape we are in today. 4 years ago, human growth hormone, the synthetic version, was readily available. It was still expensive, but it was pretty much readily available anywhere. Flash forward to today, where it's being regulated more and more. I mean, every time every quarter of this year, it'll be regulated more and more in certain areas. So
Yeah.
out west, yeah, it's extremely regulated. So doctors are, chomping at the bit for a product to fill that vacuum that's being created, which has been a godsend to us. We believe in what we do.
Yeah.
We're very, we really do. We believe in what we do. Everybody that, works here uses the product. Everybody believes in it. I was a believer way before. Like I said, I purchased it. I paid full price just like everybody else. So much so that, my company acquired all the formulas in the brand. So that's how much I believe in it. It just sometimes the timing is better now than maybe before. It's pretty much the best thing that could have ever happened to us. But yeah, we do get pushback. Some people love the needle, man, and that's cool. It's fine. Stuff works. It absolutely does work. It's what's your trade-off, right? So what are you willing to correct? Yeah. What are you willing to put on the line for the benefit?
Gotcha. So I guess for comparison's sake, like, I mean, obviously you mentioned that it was a lot of money, the real thing.
Yeah.
What, like, talk to me about the price comparison, and then obviously the results, right? At the end of the day, people want to get the results from the synthetic, but without the side effects, so that's where yours comes into play. So can you talk a little bit about just the cost point difference, as well as the difference in what you could experience on either or?
1,000%. So the cost, and I'm being generous here, I think we come in at about 1/10 of the price of synthetic prescription HGH. Now, remember, it's going to be dependent on where you are purchasing that product, or where in the country you are, let alone the world, because in a lot of countries it's not available, period. But we can stick to the United States, and we can continue to talk about the differences between California and Florida, because they're so vastly different. But if you're out in California, you'd be lucky to get a prescription, number one. And number two, if you are, it's going to be around $3,000 to $10,000. So California is one of our, by far, our largest market. And when it comes to like what the differences are going to range between different individuals, what they're lacking as a human being, right? From what their hormonal decline is, or in other of parts of that hormonal decline. And I'm going to probably extrapolate on that so I can kind of bring it around and help listeners or viewers understand. But where human growth hormone treatments are typically prescribed, and the physician will tell you, hey, just like TRT or other types of hormone treatments, hey, you need to give this, 3 to 6 months to really
see the benefits,
see the benefits. And the difference is we overwhelmingly get reports, and we never kind of like jump out and like feed and go fish for these. They just come in, which is really cool. Overwhelmingly, men will report that they are feeling the difference within the first 10 to 14 days.
Wow.
Now, I know why that is, or I can, we can speculate, but the difference is they're going to start feeling the results around 10 to 14 days, which is massively different than, hey, you're going to need to be on this for 6 months. We tell people, if you're not feeling a difference in like the first 4 to 6 weeks, it might not be the right product for you.
Really?
We're not, we don't tell anybody to hang on for 6 months. Most people do, because they love the way that they feel. And they're not scared about long-term use, because we have zero data to show any issues with long-term use. But
why the difference though? Like why 6 months for regular hormone versus this that's more natural, like you feel it right away, like within 2 weeks?
So we skip, and this is the difference between our products, because remember, we're in all. This is a common thing we like to educate people on. We are not replacing your growth hormone, your natural growth hormone. In no way, shape, or form are we touching, manipulating, suppressing any of your natural hormone function. That's part of the beauty of the product.
Nice.
The natural growth hormone is secreted by the pituitary gland. What people don't understand or don't know, and they don't need to know, but it's part of it. It has to get sent to the liver to be metabolized. Your liver metabolizes the hormone itself and converts it into what are called growth factors. So growth factors, they're very simple. They're little proteins. They're called protein cytokines. All that means is they are cellular triggers. Any function that happens in your body has to be triggered to do so. It just doesn't magically happen. You have to have some sort of synapse or trigger at some point in the game. That's the entire purpose of a hormone, period. The hormone is the chemical catalyst to create that change. So instead of manipulating your natural production or suppressing it, which is where the side effects start to come in, why not just take the end result? Why not just take the cellular triggers? They're literally just proteins. They're not harmful. They're proteins like anything else. They're just a very specific type of protein, a cytokine. And you can trigger the cell to do the very same thing. So instead of manipulating all of the process way upstream, and messing with your body's natural, literally there's no other word, process. Just give somebody the end result that's less harmful, costs a lot less money, is very easily, able to be applied, and call it a day. And that's exactly what we do. Instead of giving you, manipulating, doing all of this stuff with your hormones and your production, we just give you the end result. We give you the cellular triggers directly. You can get them right into your bloodstream, and you can trigger the same exact change, but you're not going from and having to convert it.
Gotcha. And what, I mean, just for the audience out there that is thinking about something like this and versus, whether to go natural versus synthetic, like what are some of the side effects of, taking the HGH, that is
synthetic stuff?
Yeah.
So, and again, this is different from everybody. Okay. Yeah. And I'm not a doctor. I can't give anybody medical advice. All I can do is provide information. You can take what you want from it. So everybody is individually different. Okay. So side effects will range and vary. The most common side effect we get from a lot of our guys, especially athletes, is inflammation, water retention, carpal tunnel syndrome. So issues with their hands, etc. That's super normal. Yeah, that's super normal. That's like a telltale sign of HGH or taking too much. Carpal tunnel syndrome, your hands will get shaky. You'll start to, if you're an athlete that uses his grip a lot, which is pretty much every athlete ever, other than sprinters, you'll feel really weird in your grip. Your hands will, sometimes they shake. You can literally feel that tingling and stuff. That's normal for HGH, synthetic use. Some of the more hard side effects that people, are a lot more scary. Not that those aren't scary, but you get insulin sensitivity issues. So that's how it ends up backfiring for weight loss, because insulin sensitivity, if you screw that up, you're going to just, that's a whole nother subject. You can start storing fat instead of using the fat as an energy source. So that's a big problem. And then you get issues like you get heart issues, you get cardiac issues, you get myocarditis, enlarged heart, you get enlarged organs, because just like any other smooth muscle or any muscle tissue,
it's going to grow.
Your heart is, it's going to grow.
Yeah.
And if it's outside of that normal range or normal hormonal range, that's when you start, pushing your body to the limit. And when you start pushing your body outside of that normal range, that's when you're going to start seeing abnormal side effects.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, back in the, what did they call that? Like that era of baseball, the juice ball era or whatever.
Oh, it was
with Barry Bonds. Yeah. And like, they were like, comparing like his head size, like he's different. Like he's got
breaking Louisville sluggers over their knees, like at the plate, like crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Clearly they were, potentially abusing that stuff. But
they were abusing a lot of stuff. It was the whole cocktail back then. The 90s was the golden age. The 90s was the golden age of a lot of different performance enhancement drugs and the combination of quite a few. I mean, how many stories have you heard of like ex-pro wrestlers, one in particular, but, walking out of dinner with their family, just dropping dead in a parking lot at 55 years old. It happens.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. So, yeah, no. And that whole, with A-Rod and that whole clinic down there in Florida, I forgot what the guy's name was, but he was like all over the news. Like he was providing stuff for everybody. That's wild. But I want to get back to what you were talking about. You mentioned 10 to 14 days benefit for your product. I guess, what do people experience? I imagine better
right off the bat is energy. Right off the bat is energy and libido.
Okay.
Energy and libido right off the bat. So when you're working, a lot of people don't actually, this is a fun statistic that I like to do, which is 33% of men are experiencing some sort of libido suppression and or erectile dysfunction specifically. So if you're driving in your car and you're listening to this in your car, you're at your office cubicle and you got guys on either side of you, whether you're at a red light, you got guys on the side of you or in your cubicle, look to your left, look to your right. One of you guys is suffering from some sort of sexual dysfunction.
Wow.
That's how it's very prevalent. And in today's society, it's like crazy prevalent. People, I am taking a sidestep here because I think this is really important. I think it's not talked about nearly enough.
Yeah.
And that is the age range at which this stuff starts to happen. Every year we move forward into the future, which there's no other way to go.
All their time is undefeated.
It gets younger. Yeah, it gets younger and younger and younger. So all these studies, I'm sure you've seen them, where they're actually making it into the mainstream, where a 20-year-old in 2023, I think the study was 2021, to be fair. A 20-year-old in 2021 has the same hormone level as a 60-year-old. A 67-year-old was a specific age in the year 2000. So, and then if you like put that into a chart next to somebody from the 40s, like we're talking a completely different human being, from even size and stature to hair growth to everything. I mean, it's a different human being. And then if you fast forward to 2045, they're actually saying that 100% of men will be sterile if nothing changes. That's the rate of growth. That's the rate of decline from, or the rate of decline of where we're at right now. That's the speed in which it's declining.
I mean, I can imagine. I wanted to get your thoughts on that as well. Like, I mean, I have my theories. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it, but obviously our environment, all the foods we eat, like all the chemicals that we're being blasted with, like all has a lot of it's on all that stuff.
100%. And one of the things, so we do a lot of business internationally. And so we get messages from all over the world, one of them being the Middle East, India, etc. Now, what we see with them, and then I'm going to correlate this to the United States.
Okay.
The Middle East is one of the, man, I'm probably going to get some emails or flack from this, but it is what it is. The Middle East and certain countries in the Middle East, I won't be specific, are the highest consumers of pornography on earth. Okay. And they have the fastest rate of libido and sexual dysfunction and decline. Now, when you take it to the United States and you start to see it where a lot of these declines are, other than socioeconomic factors or or environmental factors, I should say, whether it be pollution or plastics, microplastics, polyester, which is a whole other thing that can completely render a man infertile, which is polyester. All of these things, which are all part of it, but a lot of times you leave out the psychological aspect of things like that are detrimental to your brain, like pornography, which is more harmful to you than cocaine or heroin from the dopamine receptors and the way that addiction works, etc. But when you trick your body into thinking that it's getting something, or it stops doing it naturally, the same way as a synthetic drug does. And I don't mean to get off onto a pornography.
No, I totally agree with you. That's valid.
That's a huge part of it. And so when you see the pornography being, which is consumed, if you ask a guy on the street, like, does he consume pornography? It's like, oh, you don't? Like, it's a normal thing, which doesn't mean it's actually normal. But you start to see the influx of availability, or the ease of availability for men earlier in their life, and you watch the hormonal decline of the same population, you'll find that they're very in line with each other.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of different factors, but that is absolutely one of the largest ones.
Wow. No, I can imagine. Okay, so what if you were, perfect world, if you were your utopia, like you wanted to provide people with this boost in human growth hormone naturally, I mean, who needs this? Like, obviously men and women, I feel like you're going to mention that both need it, but like at what age would you say, hey, you know what, you need to get on this supplement? Is it as early as your early 20s, like you mentioned?
I would tell you, don't even take our product yet, because there's things you need to get in line with yourself first that you may not need to spend the money.
Okay.
Right? So there's things that we would recommend, and I would recommend, and any physician that we work with as a protocol should recommend first before you just start shelling out cash.
Interesting.
And that is, well, I mean, man, I actually do care about the health and well-being of the individual. If, not that you have, but if you read any interview I've been on or anything I've done, my passion in life is literally is helping men become better and stronger men.
Yeah.
Because from a social perspective and a societal perspective, but also physically, I think they're intertwined with each other. But that's my passion. That's what kind of got me on this track. We skipped over that part of the origin story.
Yeah.
But I used to work with men. What got me here was working with men in the fitness space that were in their late 30s and early 40s. And I worked with a lot of guys that were broken down mentally and physically because they hadn't taken care of themselves. They had gone through a really rough time and divorced. Their wives left them. Whatever the case may be, you see men that were struggling. We all struggle. Yeah. I just got to see a lot of them in a very compact amount of time because that was my career. And I actually care about helping these guys out. This is one of the big things of why we do what we do. I want to be able to help, and our company be able to help guys all over the world, not just how many guys can I fit within an 8-hour day, an 8-hour time frame.
Yeah.
So when you were asking, like, what age do you get started? yes, we do focus on that kind of like 38 to 44 because that's where you get the fastest, biggest amount of impact. But just like we were talking about that hormonal decline, the age at which starting is absolutely individualized, meaning different individuals at different ages are going to experience that hormonal decline or lack of hormone thereof at different age points. So when somebody, we've actually jumped around quite a bit. Well, when someone comes to us and they're like, hey, I'm 25.
Yeah.
Is
like
this right for me?
Protocol. You mentioned a protocol.
Yeah, a
what
protocol,
should that
right.
25-year-old
exactly.
do prior to even?
And we always say this before you start throwing cash at us, you need to audit. You need to audit your regimen or your protocols of what is my, and here are the top 3 things that you can flip right now naturally. If you're listening, don't give us $1. Do these 3 things first. One is I'll save the best for last. Let's start with the least fun, which is cutting out sugars about 3 hours before bed. Okay, so you want to minimize that insulin spike prior to bed because human growth hormone is secreted naturally, about 90% of it during specific times of sleep. Okay, and you don't want to manipulate those insulin levels prior to going to bed. That's one thing you can start to do. Not to mention, if you start cutting out a lot of those processed sugars, you'll probably start to like the way you look a little bit more than you already
100%,
do.
100%, yeah.
So it's a win-win there. 2 is looking at your fitness regimen. So human growth hormone, different than stuff like testosterone, human growth hormone is a pulsating hormone, which means you can actually stimulate its production, even during the middle of the day. Okay. That's why when you go do blood work, a lot of people don't know this. You don't test for growth hormone.
Right.
You have to test for its metabolite, which is insulin-like growth factor 1, growth factor. So, because that is a consistent serum level in your blood. You can't, and there's actually no specific test for athletes either. They don't go in and just test your growth hormone. Oh, you're on growth hormone. They can't even test for it anyway. So you have to test the metabolite. That being said, so get your, second one, it's a pulsating hormone, so you can stimulate it. Look at your fitness regimen.
Yeah.
Yes. Your intensity levels during training will be the determining factor of stimulating that hormone. So if you're a solid state cardio dude or cardio bunny, if you will, I don't know if that's a term that's cool or not or anything, but if you're
you just made it up, cardio, man.
yeah. If you're, well, I know that's what they say in the gyms and stuff is cardio bunny, like somebody who sits on the cardio machines for X amount of time, but very little intensity.
Yeah.
Or you're just a standard, 3 sets of 10 reps kind of a guy, 5 different exercises, and the intensity isn't there.
Yeah.
You're not stimulating the production of the hormone as much as you could if you increased the volume and intensity of that workload. I'm not telling you to go do 3 hours of training instead of 1. In fact, I'll tell you to do the opposite and do less time training, but increase the volume and intensity levels of that style of training, HIIT training, whether that's weights or whether that is body weight. High intensity interval training is the most impactful thing you can do from a fitness perspective to increase growth hormone.
Amazing.
So manicuring from a performance aspect, I will tell you that most individuals focus too much on their reps and sets and not the rest intervals in between those sets. You can completely change a workout and lift 50 pounds all day long in every different exercise. But if you shorten your rest intervals from, let's say, a lot of people use the 2 minutes, right? If you want to create more of a higher intensity type focus, stay very strict with a 30 to 45 second rest interval. 50 pounds is all you need. You will completely change the name of the game in fitness. I can guarantee you that. That is the fastest way to do that.
Nice.
The third way to increase growth hormone is to improve your sleep. Like we just said, 90% of all of your hormone secretion is during sleep cycles, specifically your NREM and REM sleep cycles. Now, if you've never tracked your sleep, you have no idea what you're missing, okay? Because most Americans are sleep deprived at some level. A majority, and that's absolutely true. A majority of Americans are sleep deprived at some level, whether that's the amount of sleep that they get or whether what's more important is the amount of quality sleep that you can get. So if you've never measured your REM or NREM sleep cycles, which is where all of this cool stuff we're talking about happens, I highly recommend that you do that. understand where you're starting from and learning how to increase that REM and NREM. If you're only spending 15 minutes or 20 minutes in your REM sleep cycles, that's abnormal. You need to be closer to an hour. And if you just increase that hour, your whole life changes. I can guarantee you that.
What do you feel about like supplements that, help you, like those sleep aids, like the melatonins and is that something that you would veer away?
So we actually make, I feel very strongly about them actually, because we make a PM formula we add on to our existing formula. Okay. It's kind of like a twofold approach. I believe very much in them. However, their approach is very different. So where we make a product that doesn't knock you out and render you unconscious, it actually just improves that sleep cycle, your NREM and REM sleep cycles. That's very different than, say, a melatonin or prescription formula, which is going to render you unconscious.
Yeah.
I know I'm like really going hard and just talking here, but I think it's really important. Melatonin is literally, I think, only really allowed in 2 countries over the counter. Wow. Melatonin is a hormone, and it actually causes the same type of side effects as a testosterone replacement, meaning if you suppress your body's natural production of melatonin, just like the same way you would suppress your body's natural production of testosterone, you're going to incur negative side effects and what's called negative feedback loop, meaning your body will stop or slow down its natural production. So anything over 5 milligrams, which in other countries, that's a lot of melatonin, per serving, is probably something you should stay away from, which is insane. Because if you walk into any corner store right now, you could easily grab 20 or 30 milligrams. Yeah, dude. And it's a big problem.
Yeah. No doubt. Okay. So cut out the processed stuff, the sugars. I do progressive overload. I'm pretty intense, very short window. And then you mentioned, master your sleep pretty much. Are the
100%, dude. 100%.
Focus. So once somebody does that, then eventually they'll get to the point where they're,
if you still
ready
feel
to take on your product.
Yeah, if you still feel like garbage, then you probably should start seeking outside help, because there's real cause for concern, especially in today's day and age, to get help. It is what it is. The studies are very clear.
Yeah. And what I have a large female audience.
Sure. You're Dr. Abs. Why wouldn't you?
For them particularly, like, how does I imagine it's safe for men and women. Like, how do women
science is exactly the same.
All right. So how do women respond differently compared to men to this product?
So one thing we didn't cover is that in order for your body to naturally absorb testosterone or estrogen optimally, you have to have adequate growth factor levels. So I do speak a lot about men, but the science literally is exactly the same. Just substitute estrogen for testosterone or testosterone for estrogen. 20 years ago, when you were looking at a hormone therapy replacement, you always got kind of, especially with TRT, you would always get some sort of a growth hormone treatment. That was part of it. They came in pairs because they work synergistically. The science is very clear on that. Somehow along the way, I have my own personal beliefs. I believe that's regulation and cost, but somehow along the way, that's kind of dropped off, where that's not even something that's prescribed that much anymore, comparatively to a lot of these other HRT and TRT treatments. But the same goes for women. You should always have adequate growth factor levels. When you look at, especially, we've had massive, great feedback from our physicians on premenopause and menopausal women who are suffering from things like libido fluctuations, hormone fluctuations, et cetera. This has the ability to kind of bring you back into that homeostasis, because you got to get those growth factor levels back into a normal range. And the cool thing is there's 13 different growth factors we include in our formula. Everything from IGF-1 to EGF and fibroblast growth factor. And the reason why I mentioned those are fun for not just women, me as well, but those are growth factors that stimulate cell growth in your collagen and in your face. So a lot of people don't get that. Is the reason why your skin sags is because the rate of decline of triggering the cells to multiply and differentiate, meaning new cells have to grow as fast or faster than the cells die off in your body. And when the chemical catalysts to create these cellular triggers are declining faster than your cells can replicate, your skin specifically will start to sag. That literally is what it is. It's collagen. It's collagen synthesis. So when you add in fibroblast growth factor, epidermal growth factor, you get a lot of those benefits as well. Another benefit of those is tendon, soft tissue healing. So people who have joint issues or coming off of surgeries, ACL, MCL, all that kind of fun stuff.
I see all those all day, every day.
Yeah, you get accelerated healing from that type of stuff. So it's cool. It works really well.
Yeah. So, I mean, you were mentioning, the women, the premenopause, menopause stage, like, because I have a lot of functional medicine buddies, and they, these women are usually on, the hormones, some of them are taking testosterone. So you would say this would be a good product for that when they're on, let's say a TRT.
1,000%.
Take this, and that combination would be beneficial.
That's actually where we get most of our kind of eureka moments from physicians. So patients won't send this in because they don't understand what they're seeing, but physicians will send in the blood work repeatedly. I mean, we get it consistently and they're just blown away, where they have patients who aren't responding optimally to their synthetic therapies. So you can put a guy or a woman on a hormone replacement therapy and it not work. Like, that's a very normal thing. People don't realize that. That's very normal. If their body isn't in an environment to absorb those therapies appropriately, it doesn't matter what drug you're giving them. If it's not going to absorb, you can give guys TRT all the time, and it works for a ton of them. But for a lot of guys, it doesn't work. They literally cannot absorb the testosterone or process it the way that you would think it would. So when you add in a product like ours, you can and have shown to get really great results where they weren't able to acquire them previously.
Nice. And okay, so obviously the libido, the energy, 10 to 14 days in, you're already noticing. I mean, obviously, I imagine the benefits compound over time. Like, have you done, obviously, any research or studies like on people that take your product, for multiple years, let's say? I mean, I imagine you're testing yourself.
Unfortunately, the FDA doesn't care about me, but we are at 100% FDA compliant. So we have maintained our FDA compliancy now since 2009, meaning anything bad that were to show up would have to be reported. You have to report any adverse effects. You have to stay on top of that stuff. You can get in big trouble if you don't. So we haven't had any issues with compliancy, et cetera. So there's also not very much studies to even show long-term adverse side effect use from using non-synthetic growth factors. I will be honest and tell you that I did not magically create growth factor technology or the science. It's actually been around since the 60s, about the same length of time as when synthetic human growth hormone treatments were created. That all happened in the late 60s. Most of the growth factor technology is going to come from Eastern European and Asian countries using it within their Olympic athletes and different types of performance enhancement and sports application. But just like anything else, if it works in certain spaces, other people get a hold of it. They start to use it in different applications, which is kind of what happened as it's made its way to the United States. We have just, what we like to think of as, perfected it. We have our very special way of doing what we do, separating ourselves from, if you want to call it competition, and then putting it in an applicable consumer use, meaning something that's very easy to use, that works very fast, not confusing, very safe, and gives people what they're looking for.
Amazing. So speaking of safety, I guess what people I'm sure want to know, side effects at all, and also, a lot of people got medical conditions for one reason or the other. Are there any type of contraindications to your product?
100%. Again, I will reiterate, I am not a doctor, and I can't give, I do. We get messages all the time, and it's, we have plenty of attorneys. It's important to know.
CYA.
Dude. It's important to know that, seriously, I'm not a doctor. I cannot give you medical advice. And any doctor would kind of tell you, just asking random questions, they wouldn't want to answer any specific individualized questions unless they had your specific individualized blood work results, like they knew you as a patient. So that's why, primary care, your special doctor that you trust, know, and love is who you should go to. So if you have like medical specific questions where you are on certain types of drugs, you should always talk to your prescribing physician first. That is what you should do. That being said, anything I say now is just information. You're free to do with it whatever you like, but I do recommend that you talk to your doctor. When it comes to pharmaceutical drugs, we haven't had anything reported where there is a large contraindication. Because it's non-synthetic. I mean, I feel completely comfortable giving this to my 88-year-old grandma who's on multiple drugs. What I will tell you is we overwhelmingly get reports of, especially blood pressure, people seeing really great improvements in their blood pressure to the point of multiple patients. This is not like isolated cases. This is
this with dietary changes and like lifestyle changes, or is this just?
Well, I mean, if they're on, I'm, that's a great question. Actually, I would like to assume that if a physician is putting a patient on blood pressure medication, that they are somehow or in some way providing them with nutritional and exercise.
Be surprised.
In fact, listen, I was about to say that is like, again, but I also know I had to walk that one back. I also know of plenty of instances where that does not happen. However, I will tell you what I can give you is repeated reports of individuals being able to tone down or come off of their specific blood pressure medications. That is something that we routinely, consistently see, which has been awesome.
Nice.
But no, we haven't had any issues specifically noted or having to be reported of any specific drugs.
Got it. And I guess obviously another question that the audience wants to know is, you mentioned 1/10 of the price. Like, what is a protocol of this formula? Like, is it a month supply, 3 month supply?
Yeah, we do.
Sell it in bulk?
So it's dosed in. So our formula is a liquid formula. You take it transmucosally. So you take it into the blood vessels in your mouth. It's a sublingual. It's a sublingual delivery.
Okay,
so it absorbs into the blood.
Like a dropper.
It absorbs. Correct. It's an individual vial. So you take a liquid vial. It's about 1 ml, and it's about 1 ml in liquid. We make our products similar to PRP, meaning we extract these materials from a raw material. Okay. Then we go through our very special process. We extract good material from bad material. It goes into a liquid. So that way the liquid is actually what is going to express the blood vessels in your mouth, so you can absorb the active ingredients. Okay. So you take one, it's individually dosed every single day. You get 4 weeks of doses. It actually, so it's one vial every single day. They're numbered. The product is tied into a online application where you activate your kit, is what we call them. We call them kits. They're 4 weeks of dosing. You activate your kit with your smartphone. It will trigger, you put it in your time zones, all kinds of fun stuff. It'll trigger automated dosing reminders to actually check in your doses each and every day. There's a personalized calendar, even a stopwatch to know how long you keep it in your mouth, all this kind of fun tech stuff. But what it does is it helps to increase the benefit through patient compliance. One of the number one things when we were in product development was asking our physicians, and we have them all over the country, what is the one thing that you wish we could change for you? And very few was it like the formula or anything like that. It was patient compliance, meaning you can put your patients on every protocol on earth. If they don't execute it day in and day out, it's not going to yield the results that they want. So if you're not doing those things, you're not going to get the results that you want. So we built that patient compliant technology facing part into the product to alleviate that issue.
Hold them more accountable. Themselves. Let's be honest, because a lot of people out there, they're going to do what they want to do when they want to do it sometimes. So
man, if it hits their smartphone, they're going to do it, which is exactly why we typed it into or connected it into their phone. If it shows up on the home screen of their phone, the chances and likelihood of them executing appropriately will go up drastically.
Nice. So fascinating, man. So another question that I'm sure everybody will have out there is, how do you obtain this? Can you buy it online? Can you get it from your doctor? Like, where can people find your product?
So you have two options, and those are it. You can have and find or contact us for a prescribing physician somewhere around Earth. We're predominantly United States, Canada, Australia, So if you're outside of those countries, you're going to need to go direct to us, which is we have created the portal online where you can order directly from us like any other type of website. But no, we are not allowed or even going to sell on any type of third party website, meaning, normal GNCs and Amazons and all this type of stuff. It's not exactly protein powder. So we're not actually allowed,
no,
we're not exactly allowed to
careful.
sell. Yeah. Well, we're not allowed to sell through those
Yeah.
platforms anyway. So it's not the same thing. So you got to get it through us or you get it through a prescribing physician and you're all set.
And is there like because I know a lot of, let's say a provider has the product on hand, like can you search to see if there's like a provider in your area in any way? Does that make sense?
No,
like maybe putting in your zip code or something, and it's like maybe they'll show you a provider who has it.
Did you do a bunch of research on our company? Because nobody knows that, but our original. So you were talking about. We were talking before we started about COVID and during the pandemic or whatever. You starting the show and it became like your passion. And you were doing the stuff during that. Well, during COVID, we had to completely redo our entire operations, right? Because clinics were closing or they were like telehealth, that was like the start of telehealth and stuff. That was not our business model. We weren't available anywhere except clinics. So when clinics start closing, I mean, we're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So we had to go through this whole process of building an entire online platform where you could actually just get our products direct. The reason why I'm saying that is we used to have a geo tracking feature where you could type in the zip code and find it. You might want to edit this out, but
no, I mean, because
we used to have that. We don't do it anymore. But typically now when people are interested, they just message us directly and we're going to be like, okay, where are you at? Here's your closest doc. This guy can get it for you, or this is where you can go, or et cetera, et cetera. Gotcha. A lot of times we can connect them with a telehealth doc if they don't want to buy off our website for some reason, and they can do a telehealth. It's telemedicine like anything else.
Yeah.
And they can handle all that stuff.
The reason I asked that is because like some of the gadgets that I have in my office, for pain, inflammation, like any type of like chronic disc issue, the manufacturer basically will reroute the patient that goes to their website over to me. Like, let's say if they're in Los Angeles, they're going to say, hey, Dr. Abasolo is a provider, go to him. He has this unique machine that not many people have. So I just figured it would maybe be something similar like that. But yeah, listen, I mean, fascinating conversation. I absolutely had an amazing time, but I want the listeners to know, where should they go? Drop your handles, like any websites that you got, like lay it out for them.
I mean, we have a website like everybody else on earth. You can go and check us out, www.bioproteintech.com. It's BioProteintech.com. If you want to do the social media thing, our footprint on social media that's kind of where we live. It's been very fun because it's become taken over kind of by individuals who just use the product. Everything's pretty much user generated. It's, it's information, user experience, and that's pretty much it. But you always typically have somebody there to answer questions at all times. Sometimes even if you just put them in the comments, individuals will answer them. Like other people who use the product will just answer it for them.
It's like a community that's developing.
Yeah, dude. We fought. I take full responsibility for this, but I fought being a social media brand, hand and foot or tooth and nail, because that's just not what our business model has ever been. That's never been the companies that I've had have ever, that was a world I didn't understand.
Just embrace
it. Happened. It happened on its own, dude. It happened completely on its own. And now it's this huge, it is absolutely 100% responsible for the international success that we've had. There's no other medium that did it except for that. So if you want to see how we live and who we are, Instagram is where that happens. And that's BioProtein Tech, same as the website. So at BioProtein Tech, BioProteintech.
Nice. Power of social media, man.
No, dude. Crazy.
Well, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this knowledge. I'm fascinated by it. I'm in that age range. So who knows? Maybe I'll end up on your Instagram one day using your product. We'll see.
Oh man, you're in LA?
Yeah, I'm in LA.
Oh man, you should go down to Metroflex in Long Beach, the combat sports mecca down there. They love our stuff. They got all kinds of we're really big into combat sports, but yeah, they're all BioPro Plus out there. It's great.
Nice, man. Nice. I'll definitely check them out. But Dustin, thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate your time, and thank you for sharing all your knowledge with the audience.
Thanks, Dr. Brian. I appreciate you having me on.
Take care, man.